So, ladies and gentlemen, this video you guys might scoff at or have clicked on because you're like, wait a minute, I like two of those things, but I don't know what the other one is. Mechwarrior Online and World of Tanks, or Armored Warfare, are actually very similar play experiences. I understand a lot of you are from my Armored Warfare and World of Tanks days, but allow me to explain how you can get similar experiences with a game that lets you be in a whole lot more depth in what is effectively walking battle tanks on legs. Before I get into that, though, and play the intro, remember, Reviewers Web is tonight at 7 p.m. We have our first guest, Anon of Dreams, and I also have Midnight Drunk Stream. All these are Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow we have Classic Battletech RPG, and the big Fallout Equestria stream is this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Moon has told us something major is going to happen, whether we do anything about it or not. Now, let's get started on picking apart Mechwarrior Online to World Tanks. How are they similar and how are they different? Well, both are war games. Both have what is considered in-game unit, battalion, guild level combat. And both operate under the assumption that teamwork is how you win. Mechwarrior Online requires the same type of skills you've developed in World of Tanks and Armored Warfare. Knowing where to shoot, what to equip your mech with, how to create a build for that mech, modifications to your own ride, understanding the possibilities of what your opponents can have, and what they do have as they're actively using it on you, as well as generally figuring out where the hitboxes are to maximize your damage. They are all what are considered online strategic shooters. This means you aren't necessarily going to win by reflexes alone. You're rather planning out your moves, getting your team to focus their fire, and generally attempting to kill your opponents not just with superior firepower, but also your piloting or driving skills, and the tactics employed by you that give you the advantage in combat. So many of the skills from your tank games that you've previously seen on my channel will easily translate to Mechwarrior Online. What doesn't translate so well? Well, I'm not going to hide this. The Mechwarrior Online interface is not exactly intuitive. But one of the biggest differences is there's no tier system for Mechwarrior Online. Whatever mech you want, you buy, you equip. You don't have to unlock certain parts, guns, engines, or anything for it. You just buy whatever you want and slap it in. So long as it fits into the mech and can go into its slots, you can equip it. It's all simply based on having enough C-bills, the in-game earnable currency. This means if you want to pilot assault mechs all day long or just want to be in the little light fast guys, you can. That's perfectly fine. You don't ever have to buy any other mechs. Experience is used to unlock skills, which gives small bonuses. Think of these small bonuses as the same bonuses you get from crew skills in World of Tanks or Armored Warfare. Each mech has up to 91 skill points that you can spend to unlock and get significant performance changes when you're done. These are very similar to the crew skill system of Armored Warfare or World of Tanks, as I said, but they give direct, noticeable bonuses that are very clear at what you're getting. Plus 1% range, plus 2.5% armor, plus 1.5% speed. It tells you exactly what it's doing. Whereas with World of Tanks or Armored Warfare, things like Brothers in Arms, give you a significant difference, but you don't know what all those differences really are without doing the mathematical calculation of crew skills. Furthermore, that eliminates the advanced math for you. Now, how armor works is drastically different. In World of Tanks or Armored Warfare, you bounce, absorb shots, or you're penetrated. Here in Mechwarrior Online, instead think of armor as a shield that doesn't regenerate during battle. Once the shield goes down, the internal structure, what is effectively your hit points, takes damage until the component is destroyed. Fear not all components on your mech are absolutely required for you to function. You can lose both arms, usually one or both of your side torsos, because you have a left, right, and a center, and a leg, and still function. There's actually an achievement called Liquid Metal, where you lose a torso, the opposite arm, and one of your legs, and get a kill, and survive the match. I have that as my title, Liquid Metal. When someone hits you, though, your armor And then once the armor is destroyed, your internal structure will always take damage. There's no bouncing shots. There's no ricochets. So long as you are within range for damage to be applied, you will take damage. While losing these sections will also cause you to lose parts here and there, it doesn't necessarily kill you. So you lack an overall HP bar and instead have a rough color coding idea of what is damaged and what is not. Gold is undamaged, yellow is light damage, orange is severe, and red is almost destroyed. The biggest difference you will also see is if you can see it with your Mark 1 eyeballs, you can shoot it. There is no camouflage system in Mechwarrior Online. Yes, you can use coloration of your mech to paint it to match the environment that you happen to be in. You can't repaint it between matches, though, so if you paint it up for snow and you land on a volcanic ash planet, you're going to be really easy to pick out. ECM and stealth armor also help keep you off sensors, but mechs aren't invisible at any time. So if you can see it, and you see movement, and you don't see a friendly icon, it's likely an enemy, and you can immediately fire, so long as your weapons are in range. Mechwarrior Online also distinctly lacks loot boxes, now at least, and has no RNG system whatsoever for your shots, except for where the missiles land on the target. SRM, short range, medium range, advanced tactical, and long range missiles do have a bit of randomization how they hit the target, but if they're a lock-on missile, they will hit the target, whereas if they're dumbfire, they'll hit wherever you just fired them. This means if you fire a shot at a spot, it goes exactly where you fired. There's no RNG to change the accuracy to worry about it. There's no gold ammo either. Pay-to-win mechanics in this game are extremely slim. There are certain mechs that do have innate advantages in certain situations, but those disadvantages can be eroded, or you can spin their advantages to give you more advantage over them. Lastly, the community here is very, very anti-toxic and quite friendly. Voice comms are heavily encouraged, as communication wins battles. People being toxic or filling comms with useless chatter are actually told live in the battle by the rest of the team to shut it. And everyone will jump in to make sure that that person who's being toxic stops. Or you can just mute them. Furthermore, experienced battle callers often take over for the random battles. This is to coordinate everyone else. When was the last time in World of Tanks you had somebody start battle calling for the team and the team actually listened? Unlike the previous two that I've displayed on the channel, World of Tanks and Armored Warfare, where the amount of vitriol broadcasting your team's own chat, as well as an all chat, is just obscene, to the point where World of Tanks actually remove the all chat feature. Not to mention, if someone made a battle call in a random battle at World of Tanks or Armored Warfare, less than 20% of players are likely to listen unless they're in the platoon with the person. Whereas in Mechwarrior Online, if someone starts calling a battle, every 90% of the players are likely to obey the calls, because working together as a team is more important than trying to do your own thing. And the odd 10% of people who don't listen, generally speaking, die and lose. I do apologize. I am a little sick. I'm trying to not continue that sickness, so I'm just making this video right now, so give me a moment. That's better. It's so surprising and refreshing that I honestly had never experienced such a well-tuned, self-regulating community. I had never seen a community that openly told people, shut up, stop being a dick, on voice comms without missing a beat. I've never seen a community where I just jump into voice comms. I'm an experienced battle caller from World of Tanks. I'm an experienced battle caller from Armored Warfare. I'm an experienced broadcaster from World of Tanks, Armored Warfare, and World of Warships in terms of being someone who's like broadcasting and talking about battles. I've never had a team just listen to me that I knew none of them, and none of them were in my unit. None of them were in my platoon. None of them were in my unit or battalion. They're just random pugs. And they listen to what I say, because what I say makes sense, and giving the target calls means that we focus our fire and kill the targets very efficiently. This is stunning to see. On a personal note, I do enjoy the Battletech universe immensely. There is an in-depth amount of lore and ideas behind these mechs that make them more practical than any other mecha type of combat I've ever seen. Gundams just explode as soon as they take one or two hits. These things literally just absorb firepower and deliver it back. With Mechwarrior 5 finally coming out in September, and with this game being very similar to World of Tanks and Armored Warfare, as well as Mechwarrior 5 being made by the same people, why not give it a shot? It's free to play. It costs nothing. Not to mention, with Mechwarrior 5, there's a cooperative multiplayer element coming, which will allow for people to drop in and out of campaigns. So you guys are free to come in and be my lance mates, i.e. wingmen, platoon mate, whatever you want to call it. In the Battletech universe, it's called a lance, and they're called lance mates. You're free to drop in and just play and join me here and there. It's a free-to-play game. There's no gold ammo at all. There's no loot boxes. There's no pay-to-win mechanics. There's no mechs that automatically are better than every other mech in the game. There are some builds that are better than others, but it's still up to you to personally build the mech you want. I understand that my unit wants me to try to build a medium pulse laser crab with dual AMS. I built a dual large laser crab with dual AMS that goes almost the same speed and has the same armor and the same heat efficiency. I just wanted the large lasers over the pulse lasers. They're fine with that, because if that's what works for me as a player, then that's what I need to stick with. Everything that requires real-world money exclusively requires mech currency, MC, instead of real dollars. You go to World of Tanks, it's going to cost you, what, $50 for a goddamn single tank? Really, World of Tanks? Really? I'm going to load this up real quick just to give you a comparison for what a single mech will run you. But in the meantime, if I want to buy a hero mech, which earn more money and have unique loadout slots, I can do that, but they don't always make the best variant. For instance, I genuinely prefer the non-hero Thunderbolts and the non-hero Highlanders to the hero versions, because the loadout of the hero version is not as good for my particular playstyle compared to the regular, I can just buy this anytime I want versions. You can also pre-order stuff with real money if you so choose, or wait until it comes out. And you can earn a significant amount of mech currency from just playing the events of the game. Last weekend, for instance, I made 1,200 mech currency from just playing the events. Think about that. 1,200 mech currency from just playing the events. And if I wanted to pay real world money for that, it would run me $7. Really? And one of the most expensive mechs in the game, the King Crab Kaiju, will only run me $37 if I want to pay purely out of my pocket, instead of, say, earning the mech currency over time and purchasing it that way. Because at that rate, it would take a month and I could get a mech currency only assault mech. Just to illustrate one of the key differences. Furthermore, the distinctive lack of pay to win and the encouragement to just play the game to get rewards is always there. You can earn supply drops from just playing. These reward packs cannot be bought or sold, but rather are just dropped on you for free, giving you cockpit items, mech decals, other cosmetics, mech equipment such as guns, engines, and all sorts of stuff, raw actual C-bills, currency, or premium time for just playing the game. It's entirely random. It's always 4 items, and you get it from just playing the game. You have a progress bar at the top of the screen that says supply cache. The game isn't without its flaws. And it wasn't always this way. PGI have come a long way. Excuse me for a moment. Where was I? Right. PGI have come a long way since the end of 2015 in terms of their customer practices. World of Tanks, Armored Warfare, and even War Thunder don't really have these kind of policies that are made to be very consumer friendly. Before that, oh yeah, there's a lot of criticism. There were things like $500 mech packages if you wanted all of them up front without having to earn one of them. But remember, everything in this game can be earned through gameplay. And you would think that you would have to spend multiple days earning. But as illustrated on every stream I've done this past week, every time I've logged in, I've announced I've got new mechs. This week alone, I've purchased 2 new assault mechs, 3 new mediums, one of which was a hero mech, which is mech currency only, and 2 new light mechs. 3 new light mechs, excuse me, I got a locust too. Just this week, I've purchased those things. So, remember, it's not... It is one of the most consumer-friendly in terms of earning stuff in-game as opposed to just paying real-world money. And the lack of pay-to-win is really there, unlike the business practices of Wargaming and MyCom that they still engage in. While it also offers a very similar experience of the strategic shooter type of deal. The only difference is you're not driving a tank with treads, you're driving a walking tank. And there's a lot of gameplay differences, but you will still get a relatively similar experience and a similar idea of putting a gun on a target and engaging that target in an ideal location on a map that you want to fight from. Not to mention, having an aggressively anti-toxic community who want to win a match as a team as opposed to just individually do well is very refreshing. I've had less than 10%, hell, I'd say less than 5% of players who were toxic people who would do things. The examples I can give are few and far between, but they are very glaring examples of how a community cracked down on someone. Example, one guy came up behind me and he turned his fire without letting off the trigger towards an enemy mech. Didn't account for the fact there was a light mech between him and the enemy mech and killed me, and I was in the light mech. And then he went, "Get out of my way, I'm doing 1,000 damage, move." The entire voice comms came down on him like an avalanche. He was reported so badly that when I looked at his player profile, he was banned for 48 hours for both team damage and for being reported for being toxic. So that should tell you something. So come join me. Link below. It's free to sign up. It's free to play. It runs on the same cry engine that Armored Warfare does, so if you can play Armored Warfare, you can play this. And I'll continue these Mechwarrior Academy episodes with the next one being fitting your first mech and testing it out. In the meantime, I'll see you on the battlefield Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Come on over to Twitch. Links in the description below as well. I'd like to thank all these Patreon people for making these videos possible and making this a ad-free YouTube channel. No advertisements. Every time you guys buy merch, every time you guys tip me on live stream, every time you guys send bits, subscriptions on Twitch, and Patreons especially, all that stuff continues to contribute to making this content without advertisements. And I look forward to continuing that trend. In the meantime, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Actually, I'll see you tonight, but that's not the point.